नारायणं पद्मभुवं वसिष्ठं शक्तिं च तत्पुत्रपराशरं च व्यासं सुखं गौडपदं महान्तं गोविन्दयोगीन्द्रमथास्य शिष्यं श्रीशङ्कराचार्यमथास्य पद्मपादं च हस्तामलकं च शिष्यं तं तोटकं वार्तिककारमन्य तं तोटकं वार्तिककारमन्यान् अस्मद्गुरून् सन्ततमानतोऽस्मि. So let us start Viveka Chodamani. So we all know the backstory. A Sishya has gone to Guru according to, as suggested in Bhagavad Gita, as tadvitti pranipadena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninaha tattvadarshinaha. He went to a jnani tattvadarshin guru. He says, hey Guru, I am being burnt in the forest of samsara. So please tell me a way to cross over the ocean of samsara. He asked the question, and then Guru says, yes, there is a way to cross over the samsara, he says. And then Sishya asks specific questions to the Guru. His first question is, Bhavasindhu metam katham tareyam. How to cross over the ocean of samsara? He asks. For that, the Guru says, only through jnanam you can cross over the ocean of samsara, says the Guru. His second question was, Kava Gatihi. What is the destination? What do I get after crossing over the ocean of samsara? That was his second question. For that, the Guru says, Parama Anandam, an eternal happiness, an unlimited happiness, an unconditioned happiness, and unconditional happiness is what you will be getting, hey Sishya, said the Guru. The third question was, Katamostyupayaha. What are the accessories I need to cross over the ocean of samsara? For that, the Guru says, you need Shraddha, Bhakti, Dhyana Yogad Avaihi. You need to have Shraddha, you need to have Bhakti, also you need to have Dhyana Yoga. Shraddha, we know, faithfulness. Having faith in Guru Shastra Upatesha is called as Shraddha. Bhakti, we know, devotion to Bhagavan is called as Bhakti. And Dhyana Yoga is constant contemplation, having a very good, sharp intellect and mind, having a mind that listens to you rather than mind giving orders to you. Mind is like a pet. We have pet dogs. Normally in India, what happens? The master will be sitting above, the dog will be sitting below. But here it is exactly opposite. The dog sits above, the master sits below. Shastra says your mind should be like that Indian dog which listens to you rather than you listening to your mind. So we need all these three things as the accessories for getting jnanam. The Guru said, if the Guru has stopped his lecture with that, we don't need to have Viveka Chudamani at all. But what did that clever Guru did? After telling what are the upayas, he also sprinkled some words in that shloka in order to kindle the interest, kindle the curiosity of the Sishya. Let us see what he said. This is the shloka, 46th shloka, saying the accessories. Shraddha Bhakti Dhyana Yogan Mumukshoho Mukter Hetun Vakti Sakshat Shruter Up to that, it is fine. Shraddha Bhakti Dhyana Yoga for a Mumukshu. Mumukshu we know, for a person who has interest in moksha. For the mumukshu, what are the things? Muktehe hetun bhakti. What are the accessories? Shraddha Bhakti Dhyana Yoga. Who says Shruter Ghihi? Shruti means Vedas. Ghihi, Ga, Gayate, Ga, to sing. Those who chant Vedas, meaning those who knows Vedas, says Shraddha Bhakti Dhyana are the accessories in order to get moksha. Okay. But the next line is where Guru starts to startle the student. He says, यो वा एतेष्वेव तिष्ठत्यमुष्य मोक्षो विद्या कल्पितात् देहबन्धात्. He says, avidya kalpitat dehabandhat. Moksha literally means freedom. So freedom from what? He says, avidya kalpitat dehabandhat. Deha, body. Bandha, bondage. Deha bandha, bondage of the body. You will be free from the bondage of the body. The Guru says, okay, but how did the bondage of the body come from? Normally when there is a bondage, if you are being arrested, your hands are tied, you are in a bondage. And how did that happen? A policeman comes and then he puts that shackle in your hands. That is how that bondage comes from, right? How did the Dehabandha, the bondage that is the body, comes from? The Guru says it comes because of avidya. It is not a physical thing. Don't think that somebody pushes you into the ocean of samsara, but it happens due to avidya. Vidya, knowledge. Avidya, ignorance, absence of knowledge is called as avidya. So avidya kalpitat deha bandhat, the Guru says. So another point that we can notice from here is that why do we say jnanam is moksha karanam? That we have to understand. We always say jnanadeva tu kaivalyam. Only jnanam can give you moksha, we say. It is because the bondage is caused by ajnana. When you want to find a solution to the problem, you need to find what is the cause of the problem and you need to remove the cause of the problem in order to get you the solution. Thiruvalluvar says, Noi nadi, Noi mudal nadi, adu thanikkum mai nadi vaarppach செயல் says. So, Noi nadi, you need to understand the problem. Noi mudal nadi, you need to understand the cause of the problem. And not only understanding the cause of the problem, you need to remove the cause of the problem in order to find the solution. So here the bandha, the bondage, that is samsara, happens because of ignorance, happens because of the absence of knowledge. That is why we say removal of ignorance, removal of absence of knowledge, double negative, meaning presence of knowledge. Getting the knowledge will give you moksha, will release you from the shackles of your body. That's what we have to understand. Okay, if the Guru has stopped with this shloka, it is fine. But the Guru is literally putting an atom bomb on the head of the Sishya by the next shloka. What is the next shloka? He says, Ajnana yogat paramatmanastava hyanatma bandhastatayeva samsrutihi tayor vivekodita bodhavannihi ajnana karyam pradahet samulam. This is the last straw. He says, Paramatmanastava, he Sishya, you are the Paramatma. You know, whatever the thing that you want to become, you are already that. But what is the problem? You don't know you are Paramatma. Why? Ajnana yogat, because of ignorance. Last shloka we saw that as avidya. Vidya means knowledge, avidya means absence of knowledge, that is ignorance. Here we are seeing the same concept in a different language. He says ajnana. Jnanam means knowledge, ajnana means absence of knowledge, it is ignorance. So the Guru says, which startles the Sishya, is that you are Paramatma. Paramatmanas tava. But because of the ignorance, Ajnana Yogat, you come under the shackles of Anatma. Hyanatma bandhas tatayeva samsrutihi. He Anatma bandha. Bandha, bondage. Anatma bandha, bondage because of Anatma. And how to remedy the situation? He says, Tayoho Vivekodita bodhavannihi. Vannihi means fire. Fire of what? Viveka udita bodhavannihi. The fire which is born out of Viveka. Viveka means discrimination. The whole text is called as Viveka Chudamani, the crust jewel of discrimination. And Adi Shankara says, that is the Guru says, with the fire of knowledge, here the knowledge is equated to fire. With the fire of knowledge born out of Viveka, that is discrimination, what do you burn? You burn down the tree of samsara. Here samsara is equated to a tree. Samsara tarumula. He says, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna equates samsara to a tree. An apparent upside down tree is present, that is called as samsara. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. So here he says, the Guru says, with the fire, that is the knowledge born out of Viveka, that is discrimination, you burn the product of samsara, product of ignorance, ajnana karyam. You burn the ignorance from its root, so that not even a smallest ignorance that is there. So here, this basically sums up the entire Advaita Vedanta. We can derive a lot of theorems from this shloka itself, but let us see some theorems so that we can move on to the next thing. So, in the last shloka, he said, Avidya kalpitat deha bandhat. He says, you are under the bondage of deha, means body. Okay. The next shloka, he says, Tayor vivekodita hyanatma bandhas tata eva samsrutihi. Here he says the bandha is caused by anatma. In the last shloka, he says bandha, bondage of your body. Here he says bondage from anatma. So what we can derive? Bondage of the body is same as bondage of anatma. That means what? Body equals anatma. We can derive that, right? So last shloka, he says bondage of the body, deha bandhat. That is why he put that bandha, the same word he is putting, deha bandhat, in the last shloka. In the present shloka, he says anatma bandha. So bandha cancel. So deha equals anatma. That is the first thing we get. Our body is anatma. In Sanskritam, the word atma can also mean a pronoun. I, if I want to refer to me, we say capital I, right? So that is a personal pronoun. Atma means personal pronoun. He says, you don't think your body as your own self, because your body is not yourself. He says, we will be seeing this a lot, but this is one of the things that we can derive from this shloka. Body is anatma. Now, the Sishya is so startled because whenever the Sishya thinks about himself, it is always in relation with his body. If somebody asks me, who are you? What would I say? I don't say Satchidananda Atma, blah, blah, blah. What do I say? I say I am Shankar Sham Sundar. I am Shyam. To be very frank with you, I will be very proud to say I am Dr. Shyam because I have a doctorate degree, PhD. I will say I am Dr. Shyam. And how did that doctor comes from? It is because I went to a place, I did some research, I earned my PhD degree. And the moment I say I am Shyam, what does that mean? It refers to that body which was born on a such and such date, right? My birthday is March 23rd. So I was born on March 23rd. Before March 23rd, I don't have anything to refer to me as Shyam. Even my parents did not have any entity that they can refer to as Shyam before the 23rd of March. So when I say I am Shyam, I automatically refer to this body, right? And I will not stop at I am Dr. Sham Sundar. But what will I say? I am the son of so and so and so and so. I did my bachelor's in biotechnology. I did my PhD in molecular biology. And with gleaming eyes, I will say, I am right now doing my postdoctoral research at Yale University. I am the husband of so and so. I am the brother and sister, blah, 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 of so and so, so and so. If you think all these things, which I feel so proud of, is always related to my body. I cannot refer to myself without in relation to this body, right? You yourself try to define yourself not in terms of body, you will be at loss of words because we are always trained to think that we are our own body. But here the Guru says, you are not your body. If the Guru has stopped with that, it is okay. But it is like rubbing salt on the wound. The Guru says, the same body that I am so proud of, the same body that enabled me to earn a PhD, the same body that enabled me to do a postdoc at Yale University, the Guru says it is a bondage. So it is like rubbing salt on the wound. Whatever the thing that I am proud of, the Guru says you are not that. So the Sishya is so startled. So if I am not the body, then who am I? The Sishya asks. So the Guru says, you are Paramatma. Okay, now the Sishya is even so confused because remember, the Sishya is a learned scholar. He has finished Adhyayanam, Veda Adhyayanam. So he knows something about Brahman, etc. He has studied Upanishads. Even without knowing the meaning, he has already mugged up all the Upanishads. So whenever he says, you are Paramatma, then all his Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita teaching, the Sishya gets what are the roles of Paramatma. He says, hey, Paramatma is Akhandam, Akledoyam, Adahyoyam, Akledyo Soshayevacha, Nityaha Sarvagadastanuhu, Achaloyam Sanatanaha, says Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. Nityaha, you are ever present. Paramatma is ever present, says Shastra. But this body, I have a date of birth, and how much ever I don't like it, I have an expiry date as well. So I am not Nitya, but this poor Guru says I am Nitya. Okay. But Paramatma is omnipotent, Sarva Shaktaha. Paramatma can do everything. But this poor me, I'm struggling to move my own body from one place to other place. If I walked for half an hour or 45 minutes, I am breathing high and low. Because of my overweight, I cannot even move my body from one place to another place. But this poor Guru says, I am Paramatma. How it is possible, I don't know. The Shishya thinks. And Paramatma is Sarvajnaha. Paramatma knows everything. And I don't even know the meaning of Sarvajna. I studied PhD in biotechnology. Even in biotechnology, I don't know anything. In other field, I am completely out. But this poor guru says, you are Paramatma. You know, the Sishya would have thought, okay, this guru is sitting in this forest for so long time without any human contact. So he really badly wants to talk to someone. So I came to him. So just because, in order to prolong the conversation, the guru just adichudrar. Abdini the Sishya would have thought, right? If I were the Sishya, I would have thought the same thing. But the Sishya, he did not think so. He says, hey Guru, whatever you are telling is good, but I have more questions. Can you please answer those questions? The Sishya said, I have more questions. Can you please answer those questions? This is the right attitude with which you should approach a guru. Sometimes, whatever the guru says, you will not understand. Sometimes, whatever the guru says goes against your understanding. If you have no opinion, that is fine. You can absorb. But if you already have an opinion, and if guru comes and says, no, that is wrong, this is how it should be. We have this big ego. What will we do? No. What do you know? I have studied PhD. I know more than you. So you are wrong, we say. So that is not how it should be. The Sishya says, hey, I have more questions. Can you please answer those questions? And the Sishya is asking all his questions. These are all very important questions, and these are the subject matter of Viveka Chudamani. So, what are all the questions the Sishya asks? He asks, Ko nama bandha kathamesha agataha, katham pratisthasya katham vimokshaha, को सावनात्मा परमः क आत्मा तयोर्विवेकः कथमेतदुच्यताम्. No, series of questions, 7 questions the Sishya asks. First question is, Ko nama bandhaha. Hey Guru, you are talking about something called as bandha, bondage. So in the first shloka, you said bondage of the body, deha bandhaha. In the second shloka, you said anatma bandhaha, bondage due to anatma. What is that bondage you are talking about? If it is a physical bondage, I can see. If it is a shackle on my hands that is put by the policeman, I can see, okay, this is the bondage. But whatever the bondage that you say, I don't see any bondage. How do you say my body is my bondage? I am so proud of my body. You are saying it is a bondage. Can you please explain? That is the first question. Second question, Kathamesha agataha. Yeshaha katham agataha. How does the bondage arise? It is God as a policeman. If I have a shackle in my hand, a policeman has put the shackle onto my hand, right? So I am not foolish enough to put the shackles on or put the restraints on myself. So who does put that bondage onto me? How does the bondage arise? That is the next question. Third question is, Katham pratishtha asya katham pratishtha. How does the bondage become established in me? Because you say my body is a bondage. I accept it for some time, but the problem is I don't even know that the body was bondage before talking to you. If I have a restraint on my hand, nobody has to point that out and say, hey, why are you having a restraint on your hand? I know it myself that I have a restraint on my hand. Okay, I don't mistake my restraint as a valayal, as a bangle. But here what I am doing, I am thinking my body as a superior thing. I am thinking my body as an ornament. But now you come and you say your body is not an ornament, but your body is a bondage. So how does it exist without even me knowing of it? And most important question, that is why this question is on the middle. He says, Katham vimokshaha, how to get rid of this shackle. If it is a physical shackle, I can use a scissors to cut it off, or I can use a keys, for the restraint to take it off. But I did not even know that my body was bondage. Now you say your body is a bondage. So how to get rid of the bondage? Okay. And fifth question he asked, Ko sa vanatma? Sa anatma ka, he asked, who is that anatma? You say anatma is the body. Is body the only anatma that is out there, or there are a lot of anatmas, or only my body is anatma and other bodies are atma? I don't know what is anatma. And finally and before that and after that he asked, Paramaha ka atma? Paramatma kaha? Who is that atma you are talking about? Because the guru says you are paramatma, but all the definitions of Paramatma I have read does not even apply to me. But you are saying I am Paramatma. Maybe I misunderstand Paramatma to be something else. So please tell me who is that Paramatma, or what is that Paramatma? And more importantly, he asks, Tayor Vivekaha Katham. How to discriminate between the two? Because the Guru says, Tayor Vivekodita Bodhavannihi, from the fire that arises out of Viveka. Between Atma and Anatma, you destroy samsara, Guru, you said. So, how to understand what is the Viveka? How to get that Viveka? Meaning, how to discriminate between Atma and Anatma. Hey, Guru, you have to tell you. The Shishya asked, all these questions to the Guru. Now the Guru is thinking, hey, okay, I have inspired the Shishya to ask all these questions. So now I have to answer it. I don't have any other way. So the remaining 500 shlokas in Viveka Chudamani is about all these things. But before that, the Guru says, hey Shishya, I'm going to tell you the knowledge. I'm going to give you all the answers that you want, but there are some things that you need to do. What are those? He says, Mokshasya hetu prathamo nigadyate vairagyamatyantamanityavastushu tatashamaschapi damastitiksha nyasah prasakta khila karmanam bhrisham. The Guru says, these words look very familiar, right? Vairagyam, Shamaha, Damaha, Titiksha. These words look very familiar. We saw it long, long ago in Viveka Chudamani class. It is called as Sadhana Chatushtayam. What are Sadhana Chatushtayam? Vairagyaha, Nitya Nitya Vastu, Vivekaha. First one. Ihamutra Phalavoga Viragaha or Vairagyaha. Second one. Shamadhi Shatka Sampattihi. 6 qualities, 6 disciplines starting from Shama. Shama, Dama, Uparati, Titiksha, Shraddha, Samadhanam. 6 disciplines. And then Moksha Icha or Mumukshutvam. So Adi Shankara has given all the prerequisites before, because we are direct students of Adi Shankaracharya. But because this Sishya is approaching the Guru now, the Guru has to say, hey, these are all the prerequisites. So at least while listening to the class, please have all these things. The Guru says the prerequisites. Remember, so when we studied Viveka Chudamani, all the 4 prerequisites, Samadhi, Sadhana, Chatushtayam, it should always be there. That is why Adi Shankaracharya put this shloka as the 69 shloka. After finishing 68 shlokas, he wants to remind us, and he will keep on reminding us till the end. So these are all very important qualities. So he says, hey, you need to have this prerequisites. Also, this is how you study for the exam. When we study in college, the university, the teacher will say, hey, I'm going to teach this. If you want to make maximum out of the teaching, you have to follow these steps. This is how you should approach the question paper. This is how you should approach the test. This is how you should approach the subject, the teacher will say, right? In the same way, the Guru, being ever compassionate, he says how to approach the test, how to approach the subject in this shloka. He says, Tatashrutistan mananam satatva dhyanam chiram nitya nirantaram munehe tato vikalpam parametya vidwan ihaiva nirvana sukham samruchati. He says, he gives three steps, through which you have to approach the knowledge. What are the three steps? Shruti, Mananam, Dhyanam. And that is what is called as Shravanam. Shruti, Shra, Shru means to listen. First, you come to class, you listen to what I say. You know why that Shruti box we have is called as Shruti? Because the singer should always listen to that Shruti while singing. That is why that is called as Shruti, the Shruti in Carnatic music. So here he says, because when there is a teaching happening, an active teaching happening, the student will be listening to the teacher first. He puts Shravanam as the first thing. Not only Shravanam is important, but you need to understand the teaching. Just sitting in the class is not enough to get moksha, but you have to understand what is being told in the class. Swami Paramarthananda says, a Sishya, people comes and tells him, hey Swamiji, I have gone to this many Upanishads class by this many Swamijis. Apparently, the Sishyas told. But what we have to ask is, it does not matter how many Upanishad class you go to, but what matters is how many Upanishads actually goes into you. That is what matters for moksha. So, we really need to understand Mananam. So Shravanam is listening, Shruti. Mananam is understanding without any doubts. That is called as Mananam. And the third thing is, just Shravanam and Mananam is not enough. You have to keep on, sticking to that knowledge. You have to keep on contemplating on that knowledge even when you are sleeping. That is called as Nididhyasanam. Dhyanam comes from Nididhyasanam. So what is dhyana? Meditation, right? Always abiding in that teaching. Shravanam, listening. Mananam, understanding. Nididhyasanam, constant contemplation. Did Adi Shankaracharya make up this syllabus? No. This is what is told in Upanishad. In Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, it says, Atma va are drashtavyaha, shrotavyaha, mantavyaha, nididhyasitavyaha. So, shrotavyaha, shravanam, listening. Mantavyaha, mananam, understanding. Nididhyasitavyaha, keep on constant contemplation on the subject. This is what Thiruvalluvar says in Thirukkural as well. We all know this Thirukkural. Karka kasadara karpavai katrapin nirka adarku taga. And people write whatever the meaning that they want, but what the actual meaning is, Thiruvalluvar refers to this series. Karka. Karka means you listen, you read. Karka. Then what? Kasadara karka. You understand without any doubts. Kasadu means doubts. Kasadara karka. You understand the teaching without any doubt. Katrapin marakka. He does not say. After learning, don't forget. But what do you need to do? Katrapin nirka adarkutaha. After you learn, after you understand the teaching without any doubts, what you should do, you should not forget the teaching, but you should always in contemplation on the teaching. So if you do all these three things, what will you get? Tataha avikalpam parametya vidwan ihaiva nirvana sukam samachrutihi. Ihaiva, ihaeva, you get moksha. Moksha means nirvana sukham is called as moksha. Nirvana means moksha. Nirvana sukham, yeppo, where will you get and when will you get? Ihaiva, you will get moksha now. You will get moksha here itself, says Acharya in this shloka. Because there are several philosophies that says moksha is not possible on human janma. Only after you die, you will get moksha. You know, Jivan Mukti is not possible. Only Videha Mukti is possible, says some philosophy. But in Brahma Sutra, Acharya Vyasa, Brahma Sutra, Vyasa has written one whole adhikaranam to say why human life is the best life to get moksha. Even if you get Janma as Deva, that is not a best place to get moksha. But human beings are the best Janma to get moksha. Vyasacharya has dedicated one whole chapter. In Brahma Sutra, chapters are called as Adhikaranam, one whole Adhikaranam on this topic. And that is what Adi Shankara says, Ihaiva Nirvana Sukham Samruchati. If you follow this scheme, what is the scheme? Shrotavyaha, Mantavyaha, Nididhyasitavyaha. Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam. Listening, understanding things, understanding without any doubt, and keeping on contemplating on the teaching forever. If you do this, you will get moksha, says the Guru. We will end this class now. Remember the scheme. We are all doing Shravanam now. If we are really serious about getting moksha, we have to do understanding. We have to do Mananam. We have to do constant contemplation on ourselves. So with this, I will end today's class. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ओम शांति 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 श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः हरि ओम।